All right, another game from the FIDE World Cup tournament. Round one with the white pieces is a player named Sambuev, and with the black pieces is Chinese phenom Wei Yi. Game started out knight f3 from Sambuev, knight f6 from Wei Yi, c4, e6, knight c3, and d5, d4. So we have some type of Queen's Gambit. And now bishop b4 comes out. So it's like a Ragozine variation. g3, castles, bishop g2, d takes c4, and now the game gets very sharp here as white gambits the pawn to gain control of the central squares. Castles, knight c6, a3, bishop e7, and there it is, e4. Knight a5. We see black gripping the pawn. Bishop e3. Rook b8 getting off the diagonal. And also preparing to push here. Queen e2. b5. Reason why black has to fight to hold on to this pawn is because if he just loses the pawn, then he's basically giving white superiority in the center for nothing. So as compensation or as a trade for white central superiority, black has an extra pawn. Of course, white decided to go into this, so obviously white is fine with being down a pawn, but having this superior central situation where he can drive away the black pieces. And hopefully he wants to be able to transform that potential into an actual attack against the black king. If he's not able to do this, eventually these four pawns on the queen side will become a factor, and especially in the ending, and white will just be a pawn down. So what you have is this imbalance, which in general we can state is a battle of dynamics, chess versus positional or structural chess. White being the pawn down is going to have to play energetic to justify this, because his advantages, for instance, his double pawn center, his attacking possibilities, the awkward placement of the black pieces, these things are temporary. Given enough time, black will straighten out the defects in his position and be up a pawn. This will give black the nod as far as being better. So while white, while black is temporarily discombobulated, so to speak, white has to strike while the iron is hot. So that's kind of the general overview of the strategies of both sides. Of course, black wants to weather the storm, consolidate the position, hold on to his pawn, and take white into the deep waters of an endgame. And white is not trying to get the pawn back, but basically use his extra space, the domination in the center, basically to attack on the king side and win more material than he initially invested. Rook a d1. So we see the opposition of the queen. d5 is definitely on the table here. Bishop e7. Developing and attacking this pawn. Knight e5. Protecting the pawn. And now a6. So black solidifies this pawn chain And the onus is on white to prove that he has enough compensation. G4. Again, there's the aggressive play. And this is how you have to play. When you down a pawn and you gambit a pawn, you have to play with urgency. There's no time for moves like H3 and stuff like that. He has to go for it. 98. Anticipating G5, of course. So this is the type of position where if you're like a beginning chess player and you're trying to figure out what your style is, this is the type of game you can look at. If you like if you like the white side, it's kind of you can kind of get a clue on what type of player you are. You're down a pawn, but you love the position, you love the attacking possibilities. If you love the black side, you might fall into a different category, more like a like a Korchnoi or Sarawan, somebody like that that's willing to have that bend but don't break approach. Take that extra pawn and hold on to it and just wear your opponent out until his attack runs out of gas and then convert later on. There's many players like that. So this is the type of position you can look at and know kind of what side of the fence you're on as far as style. Okay, D5 makes sense, right? Again, once you realize that you have to play aggressively here, all the moves kind of make sense. You want to you're capitalizing on this difficulty of development for white, or for black rather, the awkward placement of the pieces. You have to strike while black is consolidating. And this is what happens. So D5, and now there's a problem. You got the rook on D1, queen on D8. D file about to be open. E takes D5. Knight takes D5. Of course, he wants to keep that open. You got threats in the position. So Wei Yi blocks up the D file by playing Knight D6. G5. Offering another pawn. Bishop takes D5 and Wei Yi. And again, white is trying to he's trying to throw water on the fire. He's trying to calm things down. He wants to judiciously trade pieces and just calm all of this stuff down. Rook takes D5, C6. Rook D1. Queen C7, getting off the D file. Queen H5. Attack, attack, attack. G6. So the queen is hit with the tempo, but you can see as well as I can see, the weakness has been created around the king. And there's always these type of ideas. Queen A6. Gives up another pawn. Okay. It's very dangerous because look at this square right here. Sambuev jumps right in. He had this fork situation. Now, of course, Wei Yi seen this, and he just simply played Knight D6. And of course, if Knight takes B8, Rook takes B8, this would not be in the spirit of the opening, because White's attack starts dissipating somewhat. The bishop F4, bishop H8, Queen H4. Black starts to consolidate, albeit at the cost of an exchange. Rook F E1, for instance, Knight B3. Just so you can see what it looks like as black consolidates. Knight C5. And let's say Queen F4. The idea, of course, is maintaining this pressure against this piece. Knight E6, Queen G3, C5. Bishop h3, and this is what I wanted to get to, knight d4. And black, although down the exchange, starts consolidating. And this is kind of, it's kind of double-edged here. It's not really clear. Sambuev makes a great move to keep the fire burning. He just puts his bishop right on h3 to keep that piece there. Rook fd8. Awesome move right here. Rook d4. How you gonna stop that? Just simply offering checkmate. And Wei Yi resigned. Right there, that was it. 24 moves. Just again, this player Sambuev was rated 25-22. This opponent was rated 27-53, so that's over 230 points higher, 231 points higher in rating. And I mean, this was a demolition, absolute demolition. Look at all the black pieces over here on the queen side of the board, and the king is just left, to his own devices. The rook d4. Let's say, for instance, bishop f8. The problem with that is now knight f6 is possible because the bishop has left e7 where it was guarding this square. So now knight f6, and that's a simple mate after king h8 and queen takes h7. Of course, there's no time to capture. Again, you got the bishop here. There really is no defense. Rook d7, simply rook h4, f5, and then the beatdown begins. Just losing vast sums of material as the attack just does not stop. And let's say, for example, I don't know, see what we can do here. Rook, a move like that, rook e8, queen g7 check, king e7, and f6, just in case he try to escape through here, and then rook e8 mate, because this guy's pinned. So, devastating game by Sambuev. These short games like this are very educational too, because you can see, the strategy, especially at the winning side. What is exactly being played for. The sacrifice of the pawn, the dominance in the center, and then the sacrifice of another pawn and the relentless attack on the queen side, on the king side rather. And then you saw black on the other hand trying to hold the pawn, trying to consolidate, but just making a few mistakes and just being blown off the board. So that was a good game. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.